Georgetown in its conference home opener takes on the Providence Friars. Georgetown has won 5 consecutive games against Providence, and overall they've won 9 straight. I'm Mark Jones, courtside along with Doris Burke. From all of us at ESPN to all of you, all the best in 2012 as we close out 2011. We're underway. Georgetown in the light uniforms, Providence in the dark. Here's Clark out top. Georgetown lets us spread the floor. Lubick down low. Got a bit of a mismatch, and we'll see if Doris, they can take advantage of the size discrepancy in this game today.
Providence open man-to-man. Expect them to show you some 2-3 zone. They're not going to switch except at the lead guard and the 2 guard spots because of that length disparity.
Nice pass inside, and Kadeem Batts getting the rare start for him, his first start of the season with the layup, in Providence with the first bucket of the ball game.
Batts missed the first semester of action for failure to meet his duties as a student athlete, but it's a welcome sight for Ed Cooley, who was thin up front to say the least, and will be challenged most nights in the Big East in the post, even with Batts.
Thompson off the mark, and back comes Vincent Council with the ball. He's the team's leading scorer, about 16.5 points per game. On the shot clock. All right, thanks a lot, Dave. Here at the Verizon Center, Georgetown trailing Providence just underway. The Friars with a 2-0 lead as Clark ties it up. Jason Clark, the leading scorer for the Hoyas, makes it a 2-2 ball game. This is the home conference opener for the Georgetown Hoyas, fresh off a huge win a couple of nights ago on the road in conference play against Louisville. I'm Mark Jones, courtside along with Doris Burke, just getting underway here. Providence comes in with a record of 11-3 overall. They've won 7 of their last 8. But this game comes in the wake of a disheartening loss, a blowout loss at St. John's. Georgetown with a 9-game winning streak coming into this game against Providence.
And after opening their first couple of possessions in a man-to-man defense, Georgetown now shows Providence a 2-3 zone.
Council out top, coming up short. Lubick with the rebound for Georgetown. They'll go down low to Henry Sims, a potent passer. This time goes over the left shoulder. Lubick hustling, and he earns himself a trip to the foul line for a pair. John Thompson III, the head coach, taking a young team this year. Their top 10 players are either freshmen or sophomores, and they were picked to finish 10th in the conference this year. Clearly, Doris, one of the big surprises on the college basketball landscape.
Well, the only team in the country to beat 3 top 25 teams to this point. And remember, this is a team that did not get a single vote in either poll coming in. And I think about probably their best win on the road against a very good Alabama team, a last-second shot by Hollis Thompson. But this is a team with quality, experienced guards and a big man in Henry Sims that has emerged as one of the most improved players in the country.
Perhaps one of the dangers today for Georgetown and JT3 as the head coach is how much of a hangover or letdown might there be after that huge win at Louisville. The putback good by Henton.
That is not a freshman rebound right there. Ed Cooley wants man rebounds from LaDontae Henton. That is one right there.
3 minutes played in the ball game. Starks from the corner. Starks a proficient 47% from downtown. Shows you why.
Well, he's crushing it. His last 3 games, he's shooting 64%. He's made now 11 of his last 15 threes. Providence, step out and get a hand up.
Markel Starks has been on a tear. 18, 14, and then 20 in the last one. Cotton out top. That's going to be a foul as Council drives by Markel Starks.
Well, the harsh realities of Big East play really deflated Providence against St. John's. So competitive toughness, the ability to compete and make plays like that. Providence, their only chance at survival is defend and rebound now that the Big East is here.
Pass out of bounds off of the hands of Gerard Coleman, the 6'4" sophomore from Boston. And Georgetown taking over, 16.5 to go in the first half. This thing's settling in so far, Doris, into a half-court type of game. Who does that favor, if anybody?
Well, I think obviously you think of a Georgetown team that is methodical offensively when they want to be.
There's Cotton back the other way. Council with a nice Euro step and dish to Batts, who got ripped underneath. 3-on-1 back the other way for the Hoyas. Starks tried to lob it up, and that's the wrong guy to lob against, because I was watching Bryce Cotton in warm-ups throw down some nasty dunks. He's got a 40-inch vertical. Sure, JT3 had that on his scouting report somewhere.
ESPN's exclusive present.
Just underway, Georgetown with a 1-point lead. Mark Jones courtside along with Doris Burke. Doris, as everyone else tries to make a New Year's resolution, stick to the diet or something like that for the upcoming year, what are these two teams looking at in our one-on-one?
Well, for the Providence Friars, it's about being competitively tough, or in the words of Ed Cooley, we've got to grow up and understand our best chance at winning on a night-by-night basis is defend and rebound. And if you're Georgetown, senior Henry Sim has emerged as one of those potent big men who can pass the basketball for John Thompson III. You knew you had great guard play in Hollis Thompson and Jason Clark returning. Markell Starks has been terrific, but continue to run your offense through one of the most dangerous passing weapons in the country, Henry Sims.
Really emerging as a force. That jumper a little bit short by Hollis Thompson. And back comes Providence. Friars down by 1. This is Council out top. Coming off an 11.4 assist game in that loss at St. John's. Cotton had it blocked. Great defensive play out of bounds. It'll be Hoya basketball. Good help defense that time by Thompson. Ed Cooley, the first-year head coach, 11-3 so far, right out of the gate, and great story in college basketball, locally especially. A guy who was a local guy, went to Central High School in Providence, and has what he calls his dream job. Clark battling, gets the third one to go.
And that's one thing. Jason Clark as a scorer has been a bit up and down, but if you're John Thompson III, the one thing you want to see him committed to on a game-by-game basis is rebounding the basketball. Athletically, he can compete. His frame is lean, but he is stronger than he looks.
Coleman out front. Drives it right into the teeth of the defense, and Sims just swallowed it. Clark coming back. Oh, great crossover move. That's going to be a blocking foul as Jason Clark made his way to the bucket.
Now we saw him put the spin move on earlier. A little crossover gets Coleman leaning, and then the ability to just change his body's direction at the rim.
Clark, a 82% foul shooter on the season. Doris, when you look at the graduation of Chris Wright and Austin Freeman, and the emergence now of Jason Clark, how do you think he's handled being, quote-unquote, the man right now?
Well, I think he doesn't have to be the sole man, which is probably good. Hollis Thompson and he have shared the scoring burden. You think about their shot attempts each. They're both right around 10 shots per game. But I think there's a couple things going on. They're your strength, obviously. And Hollis Thompson gets the game winner on the road against a very good defensive team in Alabama. Starks, Markell Starks, you talked about his emergence. Listen, this isn't about an improvement as a player for Markell Starks, Mark. This is about a guy who couldn't get minutes behind those guys you mentioned. Starks could play last year, raise their level in practice. There's just so many good things going on. You've got a poised, competitive freshman class.
Pretty deep and talented, and they've had a good year on the recruiting trail as well. Foul's going to go against Georgetown. Fouls against number 55, Jabril Trollope. Georgetown in the middle of a 7-0 run right now. Council inbounds. Coleman up court for Providence.
Now the 2-3 zone. Cotton, the only guy who shot it well from deep for Providence. Council has not shot it well. Coleman is a non-shooter from the perimeter, so this zone is good strategy.
Batts gets it back out to Cotton. Council with the one dribble pull-up. Whistle and a foul underneath. That's going to go against the Georgetown Hoyas. The foul is going to be against Hollis Thompson. That's his first personal, team third foul. Ed Cooley was disgusted with the performance of his team after that 91-67 loss a couple of nights ago against St. John's. And to quote the head coach, he said, "That was the worst defensive game I've ever coached. And that will be emphatically addressed at 6 a.m. tomorrow," end quote.
He went on to say some other things that I'm sure for some of the fans might have offended their sensibilities. But if I'm a parent and my guys are playing for him, I want the honest truth. And that's what he gave you at the press conference. There's two noticeable differences about Providence College this year under Ed Cooley. One, their commitment to defense. They have played harder and better and more as a unit, and they're more cohesive as a unit on the offensive end. Now, obviously, St. John's played great. You hope it's a blip on the radar if you're Providence.
Out of the rebuilding process. Nice feed inside and a good bucket by Hollis Thompson. Georgetown team really moves it around well, Doris.
Does it feel like all their buckets are either free throws or paint points?
Every shot contested at the defensive end, too. Out of bounds, it'll be Friars basketball. David comes back into the ball game along with Greg Whittington. Well, Tuesday night, coverage of college basketball continuing with a pair of conference matchups on ESPN2 and ESPNU. Michigan State against Wisconsin, and Louisville taking on St. John's at 7 o'clock Eastern time.
We got a Louisville team looking to bounce back after getting upset at home. Georgetown snapping a 20-game home win streak. And they continue to show zone, and I would until Providence shows me they can make shots.
There's Coleman driving a baseline, got all the way to the cup. Couldn't finish, though. Lubick clears for the Hoyas. Starks goes inside to Lubick. Lubick, nice move inside. Great up and under. Nate Lubick had a couple of points in 12 minutes in that Louisville win, and Georgetown with its biggest lead of the game at 9.
Nate Lubick starting as a sophomore, coach's son, going to give you the counter move, makes it look easy against Kofani.
Really? Welcome back, everyone, to the Verizon Center. Georgetown on a big run right now, leading by 9. As the Providence Friars reeling a little bit here early, although they've won 7 of their last 8 coming in. Georgetown on an 11-0 run. And getting a lot of paint points as well. The Friars turn it over.
Yeah, exactly what I said. Felt like most of their points were in the painted area or from the free throw line. So 10 of their 13 from those 2 spots. And this is a Providence team. They've got a 3-headed center with Bats. Gipley is no longer in the starting lineup. And you've got to get something. You're hoping for at least 12 and 8 now that Bats is back. He's got to get his game rhythm quickly.
Markell starts up court. Lubick with a nice feed and another assist on a field goal. That time, Otto Porter, the talented freshman out of Missouri, with the bucket. And he had a huge night in that Louisville win.
Well, Lubick and Sims actually lead you in assists. So your 2 big men are 2 of your better passers.
15-4 early lead. Providence has to be careful here. Cotton misses on the 3, 1 and done at the offensive end for Providence. Georgetown team with 10 of its top players, freshmen or sophomores. They go after it at the offensive end as well, out of bounds. As Porter wrested it away, it'll be Georgetown ball when we come back to the Verizon Center. Well, Georgetown leading by 11 with 11:42 to go in the first half. Mark Jones along with Doris Burke, and Georgetown's Henry Sims has an array of skills.
This is a Jesuit institution, so it's not Sin City, it's Sims City. And under John Thompson III, his big men have been exceptional passers. The vision of Henry Sims to find open shooters, or in the Princeton offense, on the Princeton cut, in very little space to put the pass on the money. It's a real skill and one of the most valuable assets you can have in basketball. And by the way, his low box game is not too bad either. Good solid move. He's a straight line driver with his left hand.
That's 7 points and 4 assists the last game, that win at Louisville. And Sims As you mentioned, some of the lineage of good centers under JT3, Roy Hibbert, Greg Monroe. Latest in the line is Henry Sims, averaging a little over 12 and 5 on the season, and those valuable almost 4 assists.
Well, think about this. This is a consensus top 100 recruit out of Baltimore 4 years ago. It took till this season for him to have the light bulb go on, and it's pretty timely.
Go inside. Nice move by the freshman, Crawley. Couldn't get it to go, though. Back comes Providence.
See, this is where I think Providence has got to score. And Georgetown, give them credit. They have retreated in transition defense, protected the rim, and stepped out to guard shooters. Providence's best option is their speed and their guard play. And if they can get loose and get some easy buckets, that would be helpful.
Cotton out top. 7 on the shot clock for Council. Time to get busy. Forces it in, and Lubick draws the charge outside of the restricted area. The struggles offensively for the Friars continue. That's the first personal foul against Council.
Well, he's their best player, and they're most likely to have big nights in Big East play. You think about their upsets at the Civic Center last year, and he was huge. He can get where he wants to go off the dribble. 7 turnovers, though, against St. John's. Providence will not win games in the Big East unless Vincent Council plays good or great.
The coach is saying that they're trying to get him to be a little bit more of a vocal type of leader. And not only is Coach Cooley trying to change the culture, Doris, we were talking about it a little bit during the break, but Marshawn Brooks isn't coming through that locker room door to help out with 42 like he did last time against Georgetown.
It's amazing to think the year Marshawn Brooks had, because defense is loaded to him. One of the outstanding years, not only in Providence's college's rich tradition, but in Big East tradition.
Whittington a little bit long and chased down by Georgetown, just a step quicker today. Lubick with the face-up game, he gets it to fall. More of a glue guy, Doris, but scoring today.
I love the guy. You can tell he's a coach's son. He's smart. He knows how to play. He understands help defense.
4 points and 4 rebounds right now, and a 13-point advantage for Georgetown. Boys looking for their 10th consecutive win. Here's Cotton, and they jump him and rip him. Jump ball, possession arrow in favor of Georgetown. Boy, Hoy is aggressive at the defensive end as well, forcing another turnover by Providence. Past the halfway point here in the first half, and Ed Cooley trying to press the right button right now, trying to find it. Trying to develop that blue-collar mentality for his team.
The number 9 recruiting class in the country is 9 months away, and for a man who's going to face talent disparity most nights in the Big East Conference, that can't come soon enough. I mean, he has done the job on the recruiting trail.
Chris Dunn, one of those players coming in next year. Talented guard. Lubick. There's the dribble handoff. Clark from behind the screen. And rebounded by Providence.
And that's their strategy. I mean, they're going to play soft because they feel like the backdoor cuts and the layups that Georgetown gets are very similar to a dunk or a major 3 from other teams. They get momentum, so Providence does not want to give up layups. They'll be content to give up those jumpers.
Whistle and a foul going to go against the Hoyas. Against Jason Clark. And what exactly and how are they playing it, Doris?
Well, watch. I mean, Jason Clark, they're going to go underneath the ball screen. Now, this is not necessarily a bad shooter, but Providence doesn't want any kind of backdoor situation. Make them beat you from the perimeter. I mean, Hollis Thompson is the one guy who's 50% from 3. And not that Jason is he's a terrific shooter as well, but if I'm going to give something up, I'm going to give up the 3.
And Clark shooting right around 39%. That last foul against Lubick, his first. Providence laboring here offensively with just 4 points in the first 10.5 minutes, 2 of 13 from the field.
No, 2 turnovers. I mean, 5 turnovers, 2 field goals for Providence.
Nice feed inside, and Lubick with a nice block. Taking them a while to get into the offense as Cotton is way off the mark. And a put back good that time by Kofani. Kofani from Cameroon. Clark trying to post up on Cotton. Now Whittington with a clear look. Well, that strategy working again. Making them beat him from downtown, off the mark that time. And Wednesday night coverage of college basketball continuing. 2 more games on ESPN2 and ESPNU. On the Deuce, Duke taking on Temple. And on ESPNU, Marquette takes on these Georgetown Hoyas.
You got a Marquette team that got absolutely waxed by Vanderbilt. They'll be looking to bounce back on Wednesday. I'll say this to you. I mean, Buzz Williams, you look historically over his career, that team gets beat sometimes, but they never get blown out. I was shocked by that score.
That's the second personal foul against Kadeem Batts, getting his first start of the season. He'll take a seat. In comes Gerard Coleman for him.
You wonder, has Providence's confidence been shaken up after the absolute waxing they took at St. John's?
Clark thought he drew the foul. Yeah, that's a good question because they got smoked pretty good. The young team still trying to find their way. I always wonder how they're going to react. That time, Coleman took it to the bucket and got fouled. Gerard Coleman, a 6'4" sophomore out of Boston. Had a game-high 20 in that St. John's loss.
That's an example of their speed, and that to me is their best option. I mean, Counselor is a push pace guard. Coleman is a guy who runs the floor very well.
Coach Cooley likes him, says he reminds him almost of a Stacey Augmon type with his length, his defensive abilities. Scores it pretty well too. Like I said, scores it pretty well. Missed a couple of foul shots, still stuck on 6. Under 8 minutes to go in the first half. Good defense that time. Timeout on the floor. When we come back, more Big East news with Louisville and a big crosstown rivalry. Well, things going pretty much according to plan. As you look at the top 10 and a couple of undefeateds in there. Boy, I saw Baylor a couple of nights ago in Dallas in a fantastic win against Mississippi State. Barry Jones III and Pierre Jackson, their backcourt star.
Well, 4 on
game-winning bucket.
Yeah, 4 unbeaten mark. 3 that you saw on that board. Murray State would be the last remaining unbeaten outside of the top 10. I believe they're 25th at this point. It just gets worse for Providence. I mean, they've been inept here. That's 3 for 16 shooting and 7 turnovers here in the first 12+ minutes.
Thompson out top. They swing it around weak side.
And Providence going zone.
What do you figure the thought pattern is behind that?
Well, first of all, I think Ed Cooley, if he had his druthers and a talent level that he liked, he'd be primarily man-to-man. But the zone has worked for them. They go on the road against South Carolina. It worked against South Carolina. So I think it's been effective because of his personnel. So he'll continue to use it at least through this year.
Clark missed that last shot at the offensive end. There was a foul.
He took his team this morning to the Martin Luther King Memorial on the bus ride over here to the Verizon Center.
Trying to give the kids a little bit of a sense of perspective outside of basketball.
They wanted to remind them that that there are people who have gone before them that have sacrificed to get to their position. And Ed Cooley, the first African-American head coach in the history of Providence College. It's 2011. That's not an indictment on my alma mater. It's simply a statement of where we are as a society. And I say this to you. By profession, this man is a head coach. But I think if you were to ask him what he really is, he's a teacher. And he's the kind of guy, I think, alongside of John Thompson III, who you, as a parent, Mark, and you have a son who will play Division I, I think you could be comfortable with either guy coaching your son.
For sure. Porter's jumper halfway down and out. Yeah, Cooley, the former 2-time high school player of the year.
So we talked about Henry Sims and this being Sims City, and this is a guy who is an exceptional passer out of the post. How about that touch pass to Hollis Thompson? Just finds the open player. His length on defense is a problem for Providence. He's blocked a couple of shots.
Council hands it off. Council has it back out top. Trying to make some plays off the dribble here. Georgetown switches. And that time they get the layup to fall. Coleman inside on the baseline drive.
I think that might have been Hinton.
Was it?
Yeah, I think LaDonte Hinton. Now, he at least has to be in the conversation for Big East Rookie of the Year. Now, Mo Harkless might be my favorite rookie from St. John's, but Hinton has played incredibly well for Providence.
Baseline out of the corner, and finally Clark gets untracked offensively. Knocks down the three ball. Almost a 40% three-point shooter on the season. Time out on the floor. Ed Cooley, his voice intoning passionately from the sidelines.
Well, feels like Georgetown should have a bigger lead. Providence, the deficit's only 10 thanks to your rookie, LaDonte Hinton, taking it strong to the rack, and Providence hanging tough.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Verizon Center. On New Year's Eve, I'm Mark Jones, courtside with Doris Burke. Georgetown leading by 10 with 6:01 to go here in the first half of play. This is the Hoyas' season opener at home in conference play. They played one road game, that win at Louisville a couple of nights ago. Doris, we talked about it a little bit during the break. It almost feels like Georgetown should be leading by a little bit more than they are.
Yeah, their offense has not been great. Their percentage is not tremendous. You know, it's New Year's Eve. You think these fellas are thinking about the post-game celebration?
Yeah, somebody's going to have that lampshade on the head tonight at midnight. Cotton on the drive. And Cooley calls out the set from the sidelines. Let's see what they do.
Providence's guards are really struggling. I mean, they're your best option offensively. In fact, sometimes the only option. And for Council, another turnover. And check out these numbers for the Friars. Amazing you're down 10 where your three leading scorers are 0 for.
Wow. Look at that. 0 for 8 total. Council, Coleman, Cotton really struggling. And that was the 8th turnover with almost 5 minutes to go here in the first half by Providence. Nice look underneath. Thompson with the dish.
You know what always impresses me about John Thompson III's teams?
What's that?
It feels like all 5 positions know how to pass the basketball. And if you ever watch his practices, there's a reason why. You know how most teams break down drills, guards and posts? That's not the case at Georgetown. Every guy is required to be to go through drills where you have to pass, you've got to dribble with both hands. So it's almost like that European flavor, right?
Right. Yeah, the bigs do all the things the guards do, and when you look at how this team has come together this year, Doris, a lot of the players here at Georgetown point to the trip they made to China during the summer, and certain events that happened over there, that evolved over there, that brought the team together. There was a highly publicized fight in one of their games, and the players felt that it galvanized them, brought them together in the sense that they had to look out for each other during, before, and after. Bared fruit on the court here in their collegiate season. Here's Clark from way downtown. And Cotton coming back the other way. Well, it would really help Providence if they could get something in transition, maybe make it a little bit easier on themselves. That time they pull it out. Here's Council again out top, down by 12. 4.5 minutes to go in the first half. Providence trying to bounce back from that loss at St. John's. Good ball fake. Cotton tees it up from downtown and comes up short. Oh, they had a great look at it. Good passing by Georgetown. And a fortuitous roll for Otto Porter, the freshman.
That's a big swing right there, okay? Because you've got your best shooter, Cotton, and Providence has gotten Cotton like wide open shots on, what, 3 occasions now? And he's not made shots, and then you give up a basket on the other end.
Coleman with a sweet scoop shot. Missed it and cleared by the Hoyas. Providence working with a decided size disadvantage.
See how soft Providence is playing? They are simply taking away those backdoor cuts.
Trying to make him hit from outside. A good strategy on that possession.
It's been a very good strategy. And normally you see guys you teach, you're usually up in the passing lane, you're denying, you're playing aggressively. Providence's defensive strategy has been solid. It's their ineptness on the offensive end that's killing them.
Georgetown just 2 of 10 from downtown in this game, albeit leading by 14. Tell you what, that Baylor Washington football game had a few more points than this one did. Georgetown with 24, Providence with 10, under 3 minutes to go. Ed Cooley trying to instill a sense of history. Took his team through this part of town a little bit earlier today. Thanks a lot, Steve. Yeah, I had a chance to see Andre Drummond play a lot on the AAU circuit this past summer, and he was a beast.
He's starting to figure it out, it seems. And I saw him at Midnight Madness, and I was absolutely blown away at how athletically gifted he is.
After the missed free throw, it's going to remain Providence's ball, and Henton back at the foul line for the bonus. Henton, an interesting story. 6'6" freshman out of Lansing, Michigan. Originally committed with Dayton. And then when that coaching staff left for Georgia Tech, Coach Gregory, Coach Cooley swooped in and convinced the young man to head to Providence. He's been a nice find for them, averaging a little over 13.2 points per game. Knocks down the free throw.
Want to know what he reminds me of? You think about Ed Cooley's long tenure as an assistant to Al Skinner. Exactly the kind of guy that helped that staff be very good at Boston College.
Jumper on the way. Charlotte knocks down the 3-ball, and just the 3rd 3-ball today for Georgetown. Increases their lead to 14.
Their freshman class, when I watch them against Alabama and against Louisville, it is absolutely amazing how poised that group is.
So when you run the type of system that John Thompson III runs, you really got to find the right type of players. It's a discerning type of player you recruit, right?
There's no question about that. And the thing I like about them is they all learn how to play. They have a good understanding. They're skilled.
Jumper off the mark by Coleman, rebounded, tipped out of bounds, and it'll be Providence Georgetown ball.
Well, watch the little screen that they're going to get here in this direction on the shooter, okay? And Henry Sims is the guy to make the pass. It's a cut, but on his way to the basket, you just hit the defender and give him just a little bit of pause, and it allows the shooter a shot.
There's Sims operating from out top. Misses the bank shot, and back comes Providence. See if they can get an easy one in transition. Council kicks it out to Cotton for 3, and he knocks it down.
See, they can change ends pretty quickly, and this thing is far from over. It's been a monumental struggle. I'm not sure what Coach Cooley is looking more forward to, a new year or a new half.
9-point lead for Georgetown. Sims Starks walked with it, had second thoughts, and ended up traveling. Well, folks, Tuesday night, coverage of college basketball continuing, a pair of conference matchups on ESPN2 and ESPNU. Draymond Green and Michigan State. Green averaging 15 a game, taking on Wisconsin and Louisville. Also in action, see how they bounce back against St. John's. I want to wish our former colleague and head coach at St. John's, Steve Lavin, the best in the new year. Recovering from prostate surgery. Still not back on the bench coaching in games. That's a foul against Starks, his second personal foul.
Yeah, taking too much of a physical toll on him. You think about how much coaches sink their heart and soul. It's a physically and mentally exhausting job. And you're right, we wish Coach a speedy and healthy new year. Speedy recovery, healthy new year.
Council knocks down the free throw. That's his first point of the ball game. We documented it just a few moments ago. Cotton, Council, and Coleman, the team's 3 leading scorers, struggling right now offensively. Council just a 59% free throw shooter on the season.
If you're the defense, because Providence doesn't have a back to the basket guy that they can use as somebody to toss it to and create shots, you can commit so much of your defense out to those three guys.
Nice move by Sims. Couldn't finish though. And a chance now for Providence to get this thing below double figures, which it hasn't been in a while. Under a minute to go in the first half. Council with the drive, and the lead is down to 8.
So some toughness, some mental toughness right now by Providence College to hang tough through an absolutely abysmal offensive half and be within single digits.
If nothing else, a great way for the Friars to close the first half, especially with their leading scorers starting to percolate a little bit. Clark tries to draw the foul, ends up forcing one, and they can get it down to 6 here.
Love the no call. I mean, Jason Clark, that's the new NBA rule, where throwing it at the basket is not a whistle necessarily.
Shot clock is off. 5 seconds to go. Council finds room. And that's the end of the first half of play. A laborious struggle for Providence offensively, but still within striking distance. That's the end of the first half. Georgetown leading 27-19 right now. We're going to send it back to the studio for the halftime report with Steve Bunin, Andy Katz, and Doug Gottlieb. Guys, look at the score. Georgetown looking for their 10th consecutive win, leading by 8 as we get ready for the second half of play. Mark Jones chopping it up with Doris Burke as we close out 2011. Doris, the field goal percentages weren't very good in the first half. Georgetown 35%, 24% for Providence. What was the difference?
You can make a case that it was the difference in play by the senior guards. Jason Clark was terrific for Georgetown. Didn't shoot a great percentage, but I thought he competed really hard. Goes up to challenge Providence inside, gets his own putback. He is a very capable offensive player. In a tough half, he had 9 points, contributed on the backboards and with a couple of steals. For Providence, this is the guy you need. It was a tough offensive half for a very talented offensive player. Vincent Council struggles. Cotton struggles. Gerard Coleman gets baseline. I mean, this guy can get to the rack against anybody. And if you're Ed Cooley, boy, you're feeling great that you're this close.
And in spite of the fact that they had more turnovers than field goals in the first half. Council, Cotton, and Coleman, just a total of 7 points, well below their season averages.
Well, let's say this. In the first 17 minutes, Providence had a total of 10 points. In the last 3, they had 9.
Another learning moment for a team that's in the midst of a transition right now, trying to change the culture. And that's going to be a traveling violation against Gerard Coleman.
Now let's give their defense some credit, because they're playing soft, and that doesn't mean physically soft. It means they're trying to prohibit all those backdoor cuts that Georgetown is so efficient at.
Well, the Hoyas give it right back. An offensive foul called against Henry Sims, trying to make himself big in the post. That's his first personal foul. Georgetown looking for their 6th consecutive win against Providence. Nice feed inside. Katim Batts, who made the start, battling underneath, got blocked a couple times though. Georgetown making it tough to score. Here's Lubick, who was pretty productive at the offensive end in the first half. Sims, where he likes to go to work, had an open look and missed it. Coleman with a tough pass underneath. Good hustle to get on the floor by Batts. And that's going to be Georgetown basketball. Pardon me, Providence basketball in the possession. Check that. It's Georgetown ball, right the first down.
See that last defensive possession, though. We've talked a lot about Henry Sims as a passer. So Batts steps off him about 2 feet. That's playing soft, right? And you say, okay, Henry Sims, if you're going to beat me today, you're going to beat me not as a passer, but as a 15-foot jump shooter.
Lubick. Thompson with a fadeaway.
Wow.
Nice move by the junior Hollis Thompson out of Los Angeles.
That's a pro move. That right there is a pro move.
Nice feed inside. That's a great dime and a foul called. Good pass by Vincent Council.
A terrific pass. And Council showing some emotion, but let's watch this. They post up Hollis Thompson against a defender that has some length. It's Gerard Coleman, but how about that? A little shimmy shake, gets space. That's Dirk Nowitzki-like. Nowitzki. Why do I ever give it that V it needs?
Work on your German a little bit.
Yeah.
Henton at the foul line. Shooting 67%. By the way, that was the third personal foul against Markelle Starks. Do you leave him in? Do you risk it? Or?
Wow. Well, you have some options in terms of being able to slide Clark up into a position to handle the basketball. But clearly, they're going to stick with Starks. I think it's probably wise. You're managing the game. He's not a guy who drives so much that you're concerned he'll pick up an offensive one.
Lead is down to 8. Thompson with another pull-up. Halfway down and out. Council with a great drive to the bucket.
Yeah, see, he's too good. I mean, he struggled with 4 assists, 7 turnovers against St. John's. 1 assist, 4 turnovers in the first half. So his last 3 halves have been bad. He needs to show up in this 20.
Whistle, and that's going to be a foul against Providence. But back to Council. He's approaching a milestone at Providence. Needed 13 points coming in to reach 1,000.
Well, look at Hinton. He challenges a shot, pursues the rebound, and the real Vincent Council shows up on the last couple of possessions. It's a pretty dime to get him some free throws and the dribble drive.
Lubick inbounding for Georgetown. They've seen their lead whittle to just 6 points now.
Good defense. The dribble at motion doesn't result in anything. Good defense by Providence.
Boy, look at the way, as you said, they're really laying off Sims. That's just a 16-foot jump shot. And now he takes it at the basket. And a nice move. And one.
No, that's not a continue. That's got to be before the shot now. Come on.
They're going to give it to him.
No, see, to me, was he in his gather?
I thought he was in it.
You're an NBA guy. Who am I asking? We're in an NBA building, but come on.
Once you put it on the floor, you're live. Looked like he got hit as he was coming up.
Well, I'll say this here. Cafani is their best defender, but he took you. Sims, you think, is a left-hand driver. He's showing some things, putting it in the right.
Council with another nice dime. That layup for Henton. Now the pace a little bit more to Providence's liking, getting some quick buckets.
Exactly right. And Hinton playing anything like but a freshman. I like that young man.
He's a guy that initially committed to Dayton. And then when Brian Gregory left for Georgia Tech, he switched. Lubick got a clear look from downtown, off the mark. Boy, there's a nice wrestling match going on with Cofani and Sims. Council from downtown, way off and rebounded by Porter.
Hey, Council looks at Cooley as if to say, you know, hey, that wasn't a great shot. Cooley just put his hand up. He's like, go ahead. That's okay. I'm going to live with that.
Sims wheeling in one too many steps.
And you can play Cofani now because see, Bats is not helping you offensively. So in terms of offense, defense, Cofani is on the floor trying to contend with Henry Sims. He got beat on the N1, just trying to body up. That's what you want. Make him beat me over the top. I'm not going to say whether I thought it was a trap.
I was waiting. 7-point lead for the Hoyas.
I like the guys in black and white stripes.
Georgetown taking good care of the basketball, missed inside by Sims. They've only turned it over 4 times. Cancel pressing the issue again. Tough pass. And Clark fouled. Good hustle though. If you're going to foul, that's a good time to do it. With them going for an easy one the other way. Coleman, the perpetrator. That's his first personal. 3rd team foul against Providence.
Wow, that's quick. Now, you don't want to get your opponent in a bonus too early. But Georgetown is a very good free throw shooting team, so you absolutely don't want to. It's a good foul, I agree. But 3 team fouls, you got to guard without fouling here if you're Providence.
Georgetown team just one of 2 teams in the country that has 3 wins against top 25 teams. Sims losing the handle. A little bit of a struggle on the last 2 possessions for him. That's the 5th turnover.
Does it look like he's just trying to do too much all of a sudden?
Little press. Council with a quick first step, rejected at the rim. And now Georgetown has numbers. Clark played a little peekaboo with it.
How many times, Mark, do you see a point guard go on the dribble drive and it result in bad floor balance defensively? Georgetown had numbers from the jump on that drive by Council.
Council with it, guarded by Trollip. Ed Cooley, the head coach, calling out the side, calling out the play. Georgetown really playing great ball defense.
Henry Sims, he's got 4 blocks. He just had an altered shot there.
Trollip took the hit, got it back, missed the second. Sims trying to clean it up. Scramble, and Providence 2-on-1. Council, and Coleman misses. Tipped up, and back we come again. Georgetown with possession, whistle, and a man down. Wow, that was frantic and frenetic at both ends.
We got life in the legs of both teams, and Henry Sims getting block number 4. Council challenges him twice on the pipes. That leads to numbers and an easy opportunity for who else? Mr. Clark. Providence trying to hang tough.
Verizon Center, and both teams like Father Time on the court there, trying to take aim and focus in and find the target. I think that's Father Time, Doris. I'm not sure. It's either that or a Flavor Flav knockoff with a big clock around his neck. Poised right now, and Providence picking up the tempo in the last couple of possessions.
Yeah, that's a good thing for Providence. The more they can score easy baskets before Georgetown can settle in defensively, because we've seen Henry Sims, his length up front, impact Providence on the dribble drive. Now look at this, 8 blocks, or 8 field goals made versus 7 blocks, and Henry Sims has got half of those.
See what they run coming out of the timeout. Lubick had success on the block in the first half. Nice move, but couldn't cash in there. Chance to get it down to 9 for Providence. They've trailed the entire game. Providence looking for their 12th win of the season, and still looking in search of that signature win. Cotton from downtown, bringing them a little bit closer, down by 6 now. This would be their best win of the season if they could get the W in coming out of Georgetown. There's Clark. Nice 2-man game with Sims. Took the hit and will go to the free throw line as Henton met him with a lot of resistance up top.
Now the prior Providence possession with transition opportunities, Vincent Council, he's operating in traffic, but this is a very good push pace guard, and Coleman is out in front. He kind of turns his head and misses him. You know, you wonder if his turnovers are impacting his mindset. But I like how they're trying to get the pace faster. I think it's their best opportunity to win.
The officials checking out Kofani, who was poked in the eye a moment ago.
He's been terrific now. See, you get bats back in, but I think Kofani has done a very good job, pretty good job, as good as you could do at his size against Sims. Because Sims, what a transformation. What a story in college basketball. This guy's been terrific.
Talk about him being one of the highly recruited players out of high school 4 years ago, now a senior, and taking him a little bit to live up to the promise.
Ooh.
Lubick takes a seat. Sims a 75% free throw shooter. Next year they get a nice big, and Brandon Bolden out of Sumter, South Carolina, from the Miller School, a talented player that played with Nike Team Florida this past summer on the AAU circuit.
Did you get to see all these guys because of your son?
I hang out, Doris Burke, in the gyms. From Orlando to Los Angeles. Sims inside. And now Providence taking it coast to coast. Coleman with the layup. And the lead is down to 5. This is as close as they've been in a long time. 13:30 to go. And the Friars thinking about an insurrection and an uprising here. Kofani bruised and battered a little bit, but the Friars hanging in. Taking Georgetown's best punch and providing a counter on the fast break. And somewhere up there, the late Dave Gavitt is smiling, saying, yes, this is the physical and skilled Big East basketball that I had envisioned. Here's how Kofani got hurt, Doris.
Yeah, LaDontae Henton trying to make the challenge on Henry Sims.
You know, in a Big East game, sometimes you need good cut men on the bench. Folks, Wednesday night, coverage of college basketball continues. 2 more games on ESPN2 and ESPNU at 7. ESPN2, Seth Curry and Duke takes on Temple. And Juan Fernandez, and 7 o'clock on ESPNU, Darius Johnson, Odom, and Marquette taking on these Georgetown Hoyas, who go immediately into the blocks. Sims kicks it back out.
Look at Henton just pursue rebounds. I mean, this guy has been their best rebounder all season, over 8 per game. And listen, he's using athleticism, a good sense of timing, a nose for the basketball. It's not like he's got great size.
Cotton throws it inside, a double team. 15 on the shot clock, and Ed Cooley calls out another play from the sidelines. A little high ball screen there. Council launches, knocks it down, and the lead is down to 3.
Now see, the real Vincent Council has finally stood up. Good solid use of the ball screen, and he didn't drive into help. How many times in the first half did he drive into size and get blocked or turn it over?
After an extremely lethargic beginning for Providence, and especially Council, their leading scorer, they're pulled to within 3 now. And Georgetown the one looking for answers. Thompson trying to find one, rattles in and out. Cotton had it knocked away, and Cooley livid at the non-call, looking for a foul. Sims posting up, and he passed it to his own man out of bounds. Porter stepped on the baseline, and now a chance for Providence to cut this lead to 1 or tie it with a 3. How does Georgetown get back into the flow now?
Well, first of all, I would continue to go through Henry Sims, and although they just checked him out of the basketball game, so Lubick is the guy you'll go through. You know, who's been remarkably quiet is Porter, who's coming off such a sensational game against Louisville.
Council has that high ball screen. Lubick switches out. Cotton with the rock. They got a mismatch inside. Bats has it.
They call that mouse in the house. That's their terminology. They don't take advantage of it.
And now Georgetown able to switch back. 8 on the shot clock. Coleman wide open for the tie. You didn't like that shot?
He can't make that shot. 7 ticks. Drive it.
Time out on the floor. When we come back, we turn the calendar to 2012. The coaches got some resolutions. We've got our Big East ones on the other side. All right, back here, it's a 3-point ball game. And speaking of comebacks, Boston Celtics forward Jeff Green currently on the sidelines and dealing with a bigger issue. His heart found to have a significant abnormality, and it was caught during a physical, and we wish him all the best in the future, and getting back to good health. He'll undergo surgery sometime in the future.
Godspeed, and thank God for the NBA physicals. You get down on one knee and thank a little divine providence if you're Jeff Green.
Former forward here with the Hoyas a few years back. Jumper rims out.
Now, Keno Davis was a tremendous offensive coach, but there have been multiple times I'm sitting here watching this game saying Providence is playing terrific defense, and that was not something that I have said over the last several years.
Council in a lot better flow here in the second half. Cotton with the ball. 13 on the shot clock.
Georgetown now, defensive intensity, last 2 possessions, really turned up.
Flattened out ball screen. Council, nice feed. And Bats went strong to the cup, and he'll get a pair.
I'm not sure what Ed Cooley said to Vincent Council here in the second half, but he's a different guy in the last 3 possessions. His decisions in the high ball screen underneath the rest of the shot clock. Little up fake, good patience. He realizes the switch. He's got no shot opportunity, so a pretty bounce pass.
Dean Bats at the free throw line. That's the good news. The not so good news is that he's only a 40% free throw shooter on the season. Knocks down the first, though. 6 points, 2 rebounds in the last game. That loss against St. John's. Didn't play in most of the preseason, so still in catch-up mode right now.
Well, your perfect point. I was thinking exactly the same thing. You've got to be patient if you're Ed Cooley. And as competitive as he is, that's very hard to do. As Batts gets his game rhythm back, you know, he's been a step slow on a couple of cuts by Georgetown simply because he's not at game speed.
What about it? A 1-point game.
You got to find Clark or Hollis Thompson.
Georgetown offense has ground to a screeching halt. They almost turn it over. 15 on the shot clock. Thompson out top. 5 on the shot clock. Still with nowhere to go. Time to get busy. Jumper no good by Whittington. Out of bounds, and Providence with possession. 10:02 to go and a chance to take the lead after shooting just 24% in the first half.
So this playing soft defensively strategy has been terrific, but opportunistic, you know, to get up at a passing lane. Vincent Council denying a reverse pass to Hollis Thompson under duress of the shot clock. That's smart play by Council.
Cooley barks out the play from the sidelines. Council out top. Not much movement on this possession. 7 on the shot clock. Council to a wide open Cotton. Good ball fake. And fouled on the drive by Whittingham. A nice move. So their patience pays off.
Yeah,
foul against Georgetown.
Their big thing with Cotton is don't pass up shots. You know, he had opportunities where at his size, he had space to shoot because Providence ran good offense to get him those. And that one he uses the bounce to create an opportunity. So smart play by Cotton there.
There is out front. Georgetown with a lot of length on the top part of that zone. Nice flash to the mid-post, but a tough shot off the mark by Henton. And Georgetown picking up the tempo here on the break. Clark fouled in the open court. Fouls against Cotton. A couple of teams looking to make a mark in the Big East as we take a look at some Big East Conference resolutions by some teams.
I think you think about Jamie Dixon over a decade at Pittsburgh has been the model of consistent excellence. It's been a bit of a struggle. They've got back-to-back losses, got to right the ship. I think Syracuse is a team that will be tested as the legitimate #1 team in the country, but they've got so many answers there. Dion Waiters, an exceptional year.
That Fab Melo playing well in the last couple of games as well. Porter off the mark. Providence can take the lead. They haven't led since 4-2, and they still don't. A golden opportunity missed by Council. Works down inside to Sims. That's a tough pass, but that's what he does well. Out of bounds. It'll be Hoya basketball. 8.5 minutes to go. And Kofani, who was cut above the eye a little bit earlier by an inadvertent elbow from his own man, back in the ball game.
You see Georgetown struggle at 3 for 18 in the second half, definitely influenced by the defensive tenacity of Providence. You look to lean on your most experienced guys. Where are Hollis Thompson and Jason Clark here in the second half?
Sims up top. Still lay off of him. Tough shot. And rebounded by Providence. Council kicked the turbo in, got blocked at the cup. Rebound no good. Another stick back by Henton, and Henton hustles his way and earns a trip to the foul line for a pair.
Ed Cooley is absolutely thrilled with the competing he's seeing from his team. He talked about growing up and competing like men, something I don't think he thought in the first half. But look at this backboard work. This is a team that's outsized but competing on the glass. And there was a reaction by Ed Cooley that was unbelievable, coming up off that sideline.
Henton at the foul line now, 11 points and 10 rebounds, a double-double, and he's already the two-time Big East Freshman of the Week, in line perhaps for another one with this performance.
Now you've got some very good freshmen in the Big East. Mo Harkless, I think, is my favorite guy But Hinton has been terrific.
Well, look at this hustle by the Friars. And now Georgetown emerges from the pile with the ball and a foul. Albeit a foul in the line of hustling by Bax. Timeout on the floor. Things starting to warm up a little bit here with just under 8 minutes to go. The third foul on Bax. It's JT3's move next.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is
Right back here, knotted at 35, just under 8 minutes to go, and the difference in the second half for Providence has been the scoring of Vincent Council. How's he done it?
Yeah, that and their defense. His decision-making so much better. They played with more pace and speed here in the second. In the open floor, Vincent Council, tremendous. The drive to the rack, the drop pass. Off the high screen, a little handoff. Another drop pass to a shooter spread in the corner. Off the high screen and roll. He doesn't challenge size. And right around Christmas, I had a spirited discussion with Isaiah Cooley, coach's son, about who the best point guard in the league is. Well, in the second half, the best point guard on the floor has been Vincent Council.
Wouldn't find many people to disagree with that so far. Let's see if Georgetown can find the switch offensively again. 10 seconds on the shot clock. Best offensive player, Clark, with the ball into the post to Sims. Faces up. Still can't find it. And a hustle bucket for the Hoyas underneath.
Now, nobody else. Jason Clark, who's now got 2 buckets in the second half. And it's a toughness bucket by a senior guard.
That snaps a 7-0 run for Providence.
The 2-3 zone. So can Providence either get in the gaps or make shots?
Council out top. Kick ball against Clark.
The freshmen have not been as good as they were against Louisville. So Jason Clark and Hollis Thompson down the final stretch of this game have got to be tremendous and make plays. That's pursuing the basketball.
Providence calls timeout. They've got 2 remaining. We're going to stay right here. Georgetown with 4 timeouts remaining. Folks, Tuesday night, more college basketball coming your way on ESPN2 and ESPNU. At 7, Michigan State taking on Wisconsin. And then 7 Eastern on ESPNU, it's Louisville trying to bounce back from that loss against Kentucky, taking on St. John's. The home of college hoops on ESPN2, ESPNU, ESPN3, also streaming live on WatchESPN.com. Well, the big 3 C's for Providence picking it up a little bit, especially Council here in the second half.
Well, with 7 minutes to play, they've all exceeded their totals, or except for Cotton in the second half. Ed Cooley refers to them as the killer C's, or the 3 C's. My 3 C's are cash, cash, and cash.
Hey, I'm with that. Nice move on the drive and a foul. Coleman. No hesitancy in Gerard Coleman.
Well, that's his game. That 3 he took with 7 on the shot clock. To me, even though he was wide open for 3, I would rather see him drive it and try the mid-range, because he's not a good shooter at all. So this is where he's got to be.
As it goes down and out, a 69% free throw shooter on the season. Chance here for Providence to notch a signature win, and then Coleman left that way short. Left a couple points at the line that time. 2-point lead for Georgetown.
He's missed 5 free throws. You do not win on the road in the Big East missing those opportunities, and he's killing himself, because that's going to be his game, getting to the foul line.
Georgetown, a lot of standing around, very static on offense here. Pollock inside to Sims. A whistle and a foul.
It's going to be on Tofani, because I think he's got 2 hands on the back of Sims. He's competing. He's doing everything he can. But Sims is tremendous, and Sims is working really hard to get post position. It just uses his feet, and that whistle came before he put two hands on his waist, and boom, that's a foul.
That's a third foul against him, so he goes back to the bench. Sims at the foul line for the Hoyas, a 75% free throw shooter, a young man that is a senior. Talked about his promise coming out of high school, and this year fulfilling that promise. Makes the first one, gets the bonus. Averaging a little over 12 per game.
He's a light spirit. I mean, by nature, the Georgetown people say a little bit goofy, a fun-loving guy, and it really took till this year for him to realize, hey, you know what? I've got a limited window here, and if I'm going to be impactful, I've got to do it now.
Funny how urgency always seems to kick in that senior year.
Plus, he works hard. It's an amazing correlation. A little extra gym time, and your game goes up.
4-point game, about 6 minutes to go. Georgetown trying to keep its 9-game winning streak alive. And 5-game winning streak against Providence.
And they go back to the 2-3 zone that Providence struggled so mightily against in the first half.
Bats with a tough move inside. Denied by Sims.
So good switch, really good defensive switch. Take away Providence transition, make them beat you with perimeter shooting against the zone.
Clark with the ball screen. Thompson inside. Porter with a good look to Sims. Sims got it to fall. Boy, he worked for it on that possession. Henry Sims out of Baltimore.
Boy, they're coming up with the toughness boards when they need it, aren't they?
Council for three, and he quiets the crowd here at the Verizon Center. So hold up and wait a minute. Providence still hanging around, down by 3, and Council percolating here in the second half. He's got 10 now. Nice backdoor cut. And Thompson couldn't finish. Nice feed and layup.
Been all about Vincent Council deciding, you know what? I led the Big East in assists a year ago. I can play at this level.
Henton with the finish off the dime.
Welcome back, Mr. Council. Last 2 Providence possessions. He's been masterful in a high ball screen. Just enough space to get that 3 off. And then in transition, boy, he's got a tremendous handle, and his bounce passes have been on the money.
Well, the coaches want him to be a little bit more of a vocal leader, especially when you look at the freshmen and sophomores that they've got on this team. And Doris, if he's not a vocal leader, his play certainly leading the way in the second half.
Well, you need the buy-in, and you think about them getting some wins on the road. It's been this year versus in the past several years, but Big East wins on the road becomes a different deal.
But just when it looked like Georgetown might be able to put them away, they went up 6. Providence rallies with a 5-0 run.
And the Hoyas really struggling. And Providence again, pre-game, John Thompson III said Providence keeps you off balance. They have done a very good job defensively.
Starks, cross court, Thompson to Sims. Sims with an open look. Continues to struggle, but good work inside and one. Otto Porter with a man's rebound.
Yep, going against Hinton and 2 outstanding freshmen. You think about Otto Porter's rebounding performance against Louisville, critical down the stretch, critical play here, a big-time board.
Well, we were talking about AAU basketball, and Otto Porter is at the other end of the spectrum growing up in Missouri. His parents didn't want him playing a lot of AAU basketball, didn't play much of it. And instead would work on a lot of local and fundamental drills. Paid off. Actually, his father is the all-time leading scorer at Southeast Missouri State.
He's got a basketball-crazed family. State title for his uncles, his mama.
Council out top. Good ball movement. Coleman on the drive. Swooping to the basket with a nice reverse move. And Gerard Coleman on attack. 3-point game in the nation's capital. A couple of teams trying to sway some favor in the conference when we come back. Out there in 2012, Georgetown leading by 3. A couple of teams trying to close out the new year on a positive note. Moving forward in Big East Conference play. And Providence continues to lead points at the free throw line. Now 11 of 20.
Well, Coleman's not even close anymore.
Hey, run down an extra possession though.
Great communication by Henry Sims in the back of that zone. He's just calling out plays, cutters. That's like a catcher holding court and describing the action in front of him. Sims has been so communicative.
That's with a nice screen for Council.
That was great. I mean, how good is that defense by Henry Sims? Constant communication and then go challenge the one guy who's killing you.
He got a hand up. Made him think about it in a great dime. Porter underneath. Sims battling to keep it alive, and Providence scoops up the loose ball. A whistle, and Ed Cooley calls timeout. With 2:43 to go, Providence basketball.
Watch Henry Sims. He's talking constantly. He's pointing to his guys. You can't see him right now from the front, but he is just communicating. His head's on a swivel. He's talking to Porter. Hey, Cutter coming through. And then watch. The one guy who's been absolutely killing him off a high ball screen, Vincent Council, gets out, makes it a tougher shot. This is tremendous.
You know, it's interesting, Doris. You hear so many coaches in this day and age lamenting the fact that their young players don't talk nearly enough in this generation of social media and texting. The art of verbal communication is often lost on the basketball court too.
Yeah, to me, that's as valuable a skill as being able to make shots. You think to some of the great coaches in history, Bobby Knight, Mike Krzyzewski, both guys value communication on the defensive end as a skill that you absolutely must have to be a great defensive team.
So why is it that producers are always telling us to shut up?
Well, here's the story, Mark. I mean, Providence turning it over less, making more shots. But Georgetown has been so tough this season. I've seen them 3 times with teams making runs at them in tough environments, and they've responded.
Yeah, they did it in Hawaii. They did it down in Alabama. Did it most recently in Louisville. 10 on the shot clock. Cotton out top. Very static on offense. I'm not sure they're aware of the clock. 3 seconds to go. Bats got it off in time and rebounded by Georgetown.
Well, I'll tell you what, it feels to me like when the game gets closer, Otto Porter shows up bigger on the backboards. He was terrific late against Louisville. He's been terrific late here.
A wide open Thompson off the mark. Out of bounds, and that's going to be Providence basketball. Georgetown had a chance there to get it up to 6.
I thought that was off Hinton. I thought that was going to be Georgetown possession.
Townsend. That's going to give him a little high ball screen here. Cotton didn't have enough room to squeeze the trigger. Council double team trapped. That's Coleman. That's not his shot. The wrong guy left open.
See, the next evolution, Coleman's got to think the game better. There's plenty of time on that clock. You need a good shot. He's done that twice now.
He's a 23% three-point shooter. He's had a couple of bad misses from downtown. Sims working in the office here, steps through, and will go to the line for a pair. He is just pounding away down low.
He's just, I'll tell you this, you know, he's been challenged, but he's been very much up to the challenge. Bat's now trying to do the job defensively. He's taking forearm shivers in the back, and he's just going as hard as he can go.
And Bats, with that foul, fouls out of the game. Lafani will come back in for him. Georgetown leading by 3. And Sims going to the foul line. No limits tonight, folks, on New Year's Eve.
Limits inspire the limitless. Levi LaValle, redefining redemption. Robbie Madison, flying 400 feet. Red Bull, new year, no limits.
I'm guessing that would be a world record. 360 feet, the world record. Right now, it's all about the 15 feet from the foul line to the hoop. And Sims answers it.
I've seen Georgetown be up against it, Mark, and they have a way of making all the toughness plays when necessary. And it's different guys at different times.
This is the second. Georgetown going to get an extra possession. Wow.
And that's the rookie Porter. I mean, that is Otto Porter going right to work on the offensive glass. A little chip out, he can't get it, but he creates a possession.
.47 seconds to go. 15 on the shot clock. Starks with the floater. Got it! And that might do it. It's a 2-possession game. No choice, Doris, but to go for a 3 here, right?
Yeah, you got to go quickly here.
And they turn it over. Georgetown on the run out. Clark. And one.
So winning plays. I mean, Georgetown was pressed, but they've been more than up to the task. A dribble drive by Council results in a turnover, and if you're Kofani, make a decision here. You either got to, you know, lay it on him and don't let him get into the shooting motion, or let him go.
Well, he chose the former, and Clark at the foul line trying to complete the 3-point play. 82% from the line, and in a blink, the lead up to 9 points.
The Hoyas, I say this, boy, they are poised, and they don't blink when you press them.
Council launching from downtown. They need to squeeze nothing but 3s here. Cotton tipped up, no good, and that'll do it. Georgetown is going to extend its winning streak to 10 games. Happy New Year, John Thompson III.
Tell you what, when they had to make plays and they had to be tough, give them some credit. And Otto Porter, who was pretty quiet all game, came up with some man rebounds and extra possessions.
Georgetown sprinting to the finish line, courtesy of a 7-0 run. And the final score, 49-40 for the Hoyas, improving to 12-1 on the season. Coming up next, Big Ten basketball, Illinois against Purdue. For Doris Burke and our entire ESPN crew, I'm Mark Jones saying goodbye from Washington, D.C. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. Happy New Year, Steve Bunin and Doug Gottlieb. Back to you guys in the studio.